Right, okay, so at this point, you've downloaded the programming software, you've installed everything, and you are ready, pretty much ready to run. So before we just go into the PLC programming, let's just, get comfortable with the software and discuss a few things, especially things that are very important when it comes to the controllers and a little bit of what you can do should you get stuck on a Mitsubishi project. Most of the work that I've done is based on GXWorks 2, so that's pretty much what I will focus on. But for instance, if you were to be programming a PLC that can only be programmed using GX Developer, we can open that up too as well, and let's get like a feel of the interface and how the software looks. Okay, so one of the things that I thought about while I was creating this video is when you have the three programming software from Mitsubishi, how do you really tell, like, if I'm programming this type of CPU, then it will then lead me to GX Developer, or if I'm programming this type of CPU, then I'll need to use GXWorks 2 or GXWorks 3. But it looks like, although I haven't found a way that is completely explicit, or a method that is solid proof in terms of if you have the CPU, this is what you can do. One of the ways that you can do that, I guess, is download the manual of the CPU, and I'm going to do that example later in the video, like towards the end of the video. So for instance, like with any programming software, I feel like GX Developer is also self-explanatory. So if you were to start a new project, you're gonna go up here to project and then say new. Alternatively, you can just click on this new page. It looks like a page, and it also says new project. So if you were to start a new project on this, you just go to project and then say new, and then like most PLC programming softwares, it then gives you, I would say, the group of CPUs or controllers that can be programmed with this particular programming software. With this, it could be any I would say any series of these CPUs that you can select, and then when you select a series, you can then pick a type of that particular CPU. So with the Q mode CPU in this example, you can see that these are the various controllers or CPUs that you can program with this programming software, and you can select whichever controller that you will be using for your particular project. So for instance, I've worked on a Q2 CPU, so this is what I can try, although I'm pretty sure that the CPU that I worked on wasn't exactly like this one, but I'm just going to select this for now. And obviously, if you select one of the newer ones, which are the FXs, you can then select a model within the series of FX CPUs that are supported in this programming software, i.e. GX Developer. Okay, so moving along, I'm just going to put this back to my Q mode, and then this is the model that I'll be selecting. And then again, it then asks you certain parameters of your program. So it could be a simple ladder, statement list. I'm guessing there'll be a controller that then supports statement list, and in that particular controller, this will be not grayed out. It looks like if I select this particular QCPU, this one then supports statement list. Some of them only support ladder, and they do not allow you to select the different types of programming types. Yeah, so we can just go back to this one, and I'll select my Q2, Q2H, and yeah, then you can keep your programming ladder and then or SFC depending on the type of program that you are supposed to be creating for your client. And you can also specify if you do not want to use labels or not. So this label feature, I'm really not sure about it, but as far as I've used it, it's more like an alias type of feature, whereby if you have like a physical input, and that physical input, instead of calling it by its actual address in the PLC program, you can then create a label to it and maybe call it button 1. And every time you reference the label button 1, it then actually references the actual physical input that is coming in from the IO module. So yeah, it looks like that's pretty much how you set up this program, and then you can then just say click OK. And then it opens up the project navigation panel here on the left, and also some program features and device comments. The parameters actually speak to a hardware configuration, but we'll get to that in later videos. So this is just, getting a feel of the interface and comparing it and seeing what we can identify from most of the other PLCs that you get there on the market. And obviously on this side, this is where you'll be actually doing your actual programming, and your ladder elements will be here at the top. Moving along, looking at GXWorks 2. If you look at GXWorks 2 and look at its interface, you can also start a new project in a similar manner. Nothing much has changed on that. You can say project, new project, And then again on this one, you can select the series of CPUs. The series looks a bit similar, but however, there are more later CPUs that can be programmed on GXWorks 2 that cannot be programmed on GX Developer. For instance, with that Q mode CPU that I had, this one I can then select this one that I had before, which is the Q2 or Q2H, and I can also specify the label. And then here it looks like if I do it on GXWorks 2, I can do statement list, but when you're doing the same on GX Developer, because I had the Q mode and I had the Q2H, but on GX Developer it does not allow me to use statement list. So these are some of the little things that I've picked up on when I'm comparing the programming softwares. So for the sake of example and how far my experience goes, I'm just gonna keep it on ladder, and I can say use label, that's optional. And a structured project, I'm gonna show the difference between a simple project as well as a structured project, but for now I'm just going to keep it a simple project. And if you go OK, then it creates the project for you. On the left you have your project navigation panel or plane, and on the right you have your page where you can start to do your PLC programming, and you can then obviously insert your ladder elements which are found here at the top. And also you have your parameters that speak more to the hardware configuration, and then you have other program options or menus that you can work with. So this is more of GXWorks 2. And then moving along to GXWorks 3, if you open up GXWorks 3, then yeah, you get a similar interface. And let's just close this window here at the bottom. And again, to start a new project with that, you're just gonna say project, new project. And then this one is a bit interesting because from the PLCs that I've worked with and the PLCs that I've had to connect to, more of the later CPUs or controllers of Mitsubishi can be programmed with GXWorks 3. So here you can start on this FX5 CPU, and then you can select its series, and then also then select the CPU model on that particular series. And then you can also then specify the program language or program type. This is the same settings as we had in GX Developer and GXWorks 2, and then you can click OK, then just click OK and OK. So this is how the project would look like in GXWorks 3. As same thing that you get on the left hand side, you get your project navigation panel, and then here in the middle we have our section where we can do our PLC programming, and then we can insert our ladder elements.